Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayyou Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrible Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And I'm always glad to have my friend and colleague, Pastor Dwayne Bland here at Thibodeau Family Church. Pastor, good to see you again.
I'm honored to be with you, Keith. Merry Christmas, brother.
Hey, thank you very much. And this holiday season, I got to tell you, it's so exciting because, you know, we try to find ways to really inspire people, right? Mm-hmm. That's what Thibodeau Family Church is about. It's about people coming in and being inspired. But you guys do outreach in a way that very few others do. And this Night to Shine has just been so exciting that you guys have welcomed that in. I know the Tim Tebow Foundation, this is their 10th year.
Right.
And this is the 6th year, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And I love the fact that you and Martin just kind of made this happen. Tell that story, because I just think it's so unique.
You know, my children growing up in church really want to keep us relevant in the culture today. And so my second daughter, Kayla, who's now married, got her own baby, and so cool to think about where we are today. But she started doing some research. You know, they know that if from their generation, if they provide me with insight that I think is going to be good for the community as a whole, show me what we got to do, and let's go.
Right.
So she presented the Tim Tebow Foundation promotional video to me, and it just moved my heart. And it moved my family,
right,
honestly. And so we said, well, let's figure out what will it take to get it into Thibodeau, if possible.
Right.
And so we did some research, got the information pack, and when I really sat there and looked at it, it was insurmountable. It was absolutely, the expectations are huge to be able to host this thing. And so I told Kayla, I said, well, of course, my family, I said, I'm going to have to put this just for a moment on the side. I really got to seek the Lord about it, because in the natural, we can't do this. Mm-hmm. It's just too expensive, too many details. You got to have an army to do this. And so within a short amount of time, the Lord says, I want you to talk to Martin Foss and Tommy Eshday. And Tommy was the mayor at that time.
Mayor, right.
Of Thibodeau. And so, of course, I have contact with Martin, so I called him and chatted with him, and I said, Martin, I want to talk to you about an event, the potential. Mm-hmm. And he says, well, let's talk. And I said, well, when can I come see you? He goes, no, I'm going to come to Thibodeau. So he got in his automobile and came, and we sat down, and he says, what you got? So I slid him the video, and the video moved him as it did us. Mm-hmm. And he says, and the amazing thing was that he made this statement. He says, this is easy. In my world, it was not.
Right.
But he said it was easy. And I'm like, wow. So I've learned that when I think something's impossible and somebody thinks it's easy, I'm going to lean into the easy.
Right. Yeah.
And I said,
I'm going to follow your lead there.
Absolutely. And so he said, what we need to do. So I gave him some thoughts, and he says, we'll get the money. We'll do what we got to do to get this thing moving. And I said, I have one more person to go meet. Uh-huh. And so I did. And when I met with Tommy, and Rhonda Dempster was within that meeting.
Right.
The amazing thing at the end of the meeting, he goes, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to bring it to Thibodeau. I said, but this is a very big task. And he goes, this is easy.
Same words.
Exact
right?
same words.
As God would have it. Same words.
Exact same words. And I'm like, all right, we can do this.
Yeah.
And so the journey began.
And listen, I got to tell you, as we talk about that as it's come to fruition in 6 years at Thibodeau Family Church, Night to Shine is the Tim Tebow's Foundation's way of really celebrating and having a prom night for special needs people that most of the time never had that.
Absolutely. The impact that it makes on their life is unbelievable.
It's almost immeasurable.
Because we continually talk to the special needs community directors and ask them if it's still relevant. And they tell us all the time, you have no idea. They talk about this event all year long.
Yeah.
All we do is just follow the protocols of what they wanted. And as you see right here, the red carpet event, there's something about when these adults, sometimes they're younger, sometimes they're older, when they hit that red carpet and that cheer team gets cheering, they actually come alive. It's one of the most remarkable moments in the year. Can I tell you a quick story?
Please.
There was a young lady a couple years back. She was really apprehensive of getting out on the red carpet, and she told us, "I can't do it. I can't do it." So I walked up to her and I said, "Well, how about if I walk with you?" I said, "I'll lead you down." And she says, "All right." And so when it was either Joni, I think Joni Petrie was doing the announcing and
Right.
announced her name, and the cheer team started yelling. She stopped me and she says, "Stop." And I'm like, I was waiting to see what happened.
Right.
And she took 3 steps forward and she shouted out her name. She says, "My name is Sassy." And she broke down into a dance and she walked the red carpet by herself. And we just kind of got really emotional
Wow.
because it was like at that moment she came alive.
It's a way that you just can't describe it. It doesn't really, you can't put into words seeing, and I'm so fortunate to have been part of that and seen it before and participated this past year as part of that cheer team and having people come through and being a representative here with HTV and just being able to say their name and cheer their name. And you're exactly right. They get to do things that they wouldn't normally be able to do. And their apprehension goes away because they get celebrated.
Well, I
and
think,
they're afraid of that to think about initially.
Keith, the one thing I know we're wrapping up, but I want to remind you is that I got to hear you laugh and giggle like so many of us does because of the delight it brings to your heart.
Absolutely. And guys, we want to share a lot more of that. We're going to take a short break, but we're going to give you a lot more ideas about how you can get involved and help Night to Shine come to fruition at Thibodeau Family Church. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayyou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite. Thanks so much for joining us. Talking to my friend and colleague, Pastor Dwayne Bland with Thibodeau Family Church. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
And we're talking about just how special Night to Shine is. And, it's a Tim Tebow Foundation. They've been doing it for 10 years. You guys have been doing it for 6 years. You talked about how easy both Martin and Tommy said it was going to be. And you guys make it look easy. But I got to tell you, I know what goes on behind the scenes. It's an incredible amount of work. But the volunteers are going to be touched in a way that they can't imagine.
Keith and I were just talking a moment ago. There are numbers of young athletes that come out from Nicholls State, but there are also community people, leaders, and dignitaries that come out.
Yeah.
And everybody at the very beginning gets captivated by that red carpet event. Mm-hmm. Now, everything beyond the red carpet is extravagant and wonderful as well, but that red carpet is cool. And you ask yourself, why does that happen? And the best thing that I can explain is that within every human heart, there's this well of delight that's just waiting to explode when it comes into contact with real love itself. And Night to Shine is this expression of love from the community to the special needs community, but it's also from the special needs community back to the general population. And so when you stand out there and they cheer and they yell and they do it for an hour plus and it's real and it's electric, where does that come from? It comes from the pure delight of the heart celebrating someone else who just needs to be loved. But those people do the same thing back to us because they'll stop and they'll high five and they'll dance and they'll delight. It is a remarkable.
It's a special feeling, and the fact that you and your team can bring that out and that people can get involved in that. I want to show people how to get involved. So let's put the first flyer up, Aaron. It is the 10th Night to Shine. It's the 6th year at Thibodeau Family Church. And you can feel how moved Pastor Dwayne and I are, because if you are just willing to come and see, willing to come and cheer, we want you to know you are invited. It is Friday, February 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. And as Pastor's talking about, when we get this red carpet availability, there are people that can do things and feel things in themselves that they didn't think they could the grace of the story that you shared earlier by someone who just didn't think they could do it, and they can. This is a way to get involved. You can go to the Facebook page at Thibodeau Family Church and find out more information, but you can get involved. You can help register somebody, or you can find a way to sponsor somebody. So let's go to that next flyer, Aaron, if you don't mind. And so you can register today. It is called Come Shine With Us. And I can promise you that you will be moved in ways that you had no idea, and your heart will be moved. It is one of the more special things. I plan the beginning of my year around the night to shine. It is that special. And so you can register today. You can register here for somebody who is interested. You can register as a volunteer, and you can find a way to sponsor. As Pastor talked about, the enormity of this event, it takes a great deal of time, energy, and money. And I can promise you, you won't be disappointed. So, Aaron, thank you very, very much for that. So we're excited. It is going to be the second Friday in February. It is February the 9th, 2024. And the reason we're telling people about it right now is because you need to know that this is an exciting event, and we want to get as many people involved as we can. And it's got to feel good to be able to do this.
It's
for
a
this year.
delight. But let me inform everybody, please, that to be on site, you have to register.
Yes.
And so if you're thinking about just showing up, you can't.
Nope.
You have to register. Your name has to be on that list, and you have to have done a background check.
Right.
So the cost of this event to you is $5.75. That's the background check. But then we have food for you there.
Right.
You'll be able to spend an evening with us from 6 to 9. There will be limo rides. There's a lot of cool stuff happening during that time frame. But the greatest opportunity you have is to be loved and to love. This whole event is about a love fest with the community and the special needs world. And listen to me, they know how to respond back. I was sharing with Keith a little while ago, one of my early concerns was the fact of whether or not I knew how to communicate with the special needs community. They take that away from you because, even in our daily journeys with one another, we still have communicational problems amongst ourselves.
Right.
So if there's a communicational problem, we fix it. We figure it out. We get there. And so if you're even concerned about a disability and having to deal with somebody, a lot of us are disabled in some form or some fashion, and we get by it every day. So technically, we have no excuse of not wanting to participate, because when you show up that evening, the love of Jesus, the grace of God is on the event. And the Bible tells us you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. So to be a part of this event, you can, and you should. And you should spend the $5.75 to come, because Keith is not making it up, nor am I.
Yeah. This
is an event that will change your life, and in the moment you get introduced to it, you want it again.
Yep, absolutely. I want to say it is the same community response that the special needs community has when they talk about this all year. They're excited about this because of what's coming up for them, because they know that they get to feel this love from the community, and we get to show that love back to them. And so, Pastor, you're exactly right. It's a remarkable feeling. And what you're seeing here are hundreds of Nichols students that come out as part of our cheer team. And when you register, you can select what you would like to do, what area you would like to help support. And I'm so fortunate that I get a chance to cover it for HTV, and I get to interview, and I spend about half of my time just dancing with those people and singing songs that are playing as we're dancing and sharing. And truly the love of God is there. And
we talk a lot about the red carpet, but once you get to the crowning ceremony, that's gorgeous too.
It just is. Pastor, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. All right, guys, come and join us with Night to Shine. You will not regret it, I promise. And that'll do it for this particular segment of Bayyou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more right here on HTV.